Can we get one printed out?
And
Yes.
is there a court reporter?
We're gonna record this, there'll be a full reporter if there's a
Gotcha.
oral argument.
And the calls around the. Okay.
The Suzanne would like one,
Oh, that's.
but the public, you know, got notice of it, so we don't need that. It does now.
Colleen Rackus, Wheatland Township trustee residing in Village of Plainfield.
Okay, hi, I'm Anita Lisley and I'm Wheatland Township Clerk. I reside in Naperville.
Suzanne Hart. I am the electoral chair and I am in Naperville as well. Would you like to? go over-
Sure. So we have provided council and candidates with a copy of the proposed rules of procedure. Anyone have any objection or comment on those rules?
Okay.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means, what you just said.
What's-
Who are you?
Are you, I'm sorry, my name is Ed Mullen. I'm the counsel for the electoral board.
For these three people? For these three people?
I'm sorry?
For these three people?
Yes. So have you been able to print that out?
Well,
I'm trying.
that's, I mean, I got it up online.
Okay, so, but I made the changes to the
Oh,
Elgin.
thank you, that's what I
Okay.
was hoping.
Okay, so do we? Chair Hart noticed that in one spot on the rules, I put Kane instead of Will County because I transferred these from another township board rules. And in two places it said Elgin instead of Wheatland. So if someone would make a motion to adopt the rules of procedure with those corrections, I've made those corrections and then we can sign those rules of procedure after the motion is passed. So if someone would make that motion.
Paragraph 6.
I make a motion to do what you said.
Do it in a second.
I'll second it. All in
You want
favor?
to, want to take the roll call?
Roll call? I will take the roll call. Okay, is it just for the three of you? Okay.
Trustee Rackus is here.
Trustee Rackus.
Okay, so the
Suzanne Hart.
motion passes and when we get it printed out, we'll pass
Oh.
it and you can all sign it. Okay,
Okay,
the next
But
order.
we just took a roll call. We didn't actually vote on that.
so is that what you meant? Take a
Roll call
vote?
vote, yeah.
Oh, roll call. I'm sorry. I thought
I was, me too.
I went very literal.
So yeah, that's why when you're, I'm like, I vote the chair.
I'm so.
I vote yes.
Are you doing roll? I'm doing.
As chair, I would do roll. Then we did roll call, though. Now we're just doing the vote.
Okay, so I can do that, right?
I vote yes.
Suzanne Hart, Chair Hart,
Yes.
Motion passes. So the next item on the agenda is the objection, which is case 24, Township Officers Electoral Board 01, Pijan versus Evans, and other candidates. Do we have an appearance on behalf of the objector?
Yes, Ryan Morgan on behalf of the objector.
Okay, and Mr. Morton has tendered both an appearance to the board and a waiver of service to the board. And so just sign that and then we'll have one original on the last page. So the respondent candidates are Brian Evans. Is Mr. Evans or anyone on behalf of present? You're present? Are you representing yourself pro se?
I am.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you to fill out an appearance form so that we have your information.
Does anybody out there got this time? I
I do.
Is there anyone here on behalf of candidate Robert Whittier? Robert Whittier, candidate for council. Just for the board's knowledge, the call and objection were delivered to Mr. Whittier by certified mail, and the post office has confirmed delivery with Mr. Whittier.
What was the
is-
date of his receipt, Mr. Whittier's?
Pardon?
What was the date of his receipt
Uh,
of that?
January 2nd.
Thanks.
Is candidate Bruce Dorada or anyone on behalf of Mr. Dorada here? Mr. Dorada has not yet received his certified mail notice and service.
I understand, so he is the candidate for assessor. Now, I understand that he does have his paperwork, that the state has his paperwork, but we have not talked to him.
But you're not here representing him.
I'm not representing him at this time.
I think you were talking. Does that paperwork, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, is candidate Todd Morse or anyone on behalf of candidate Todd Morse here?
I will be representing, I've been asked to represent Todd.
Okay, did you put that on your
No,
appearance
I
form? Would you add that to your appearance
Sure.
form and actually, would you just fill out another appearance form for that? Got one something.
I'm from here.
Is candidate Michael Wisniewski present or anyone on behalf of him?
He's withdrawn, I understand, is that right?
It's withdrawn.
That was in the paper.
Okay, and you're here on behalf of Michael
Krasinski,
Kraswinski.
and hoping that I pronounce his name correctly.
Is candidate Randall Happ or anyone on behalf of candidate Randall Happ here?
Yes, want Robert Kavanaugh to represent me.
Pardon?
Want Robert Kavanaugh to represent me.
Okay. Thomas Brzezinski. Sorry, I don't, is candidate here or anyone on behalf of the candidate here? This candidate has received the notice on January 2nd. So he received service of the call and the objection on January 2nd. And David Furnish, is anyone here on behalf of David Furnish or is he here individually? And Mr. Furnish also received service on January 2nd of the call of today's meeting and the objection.
So they signed for all these, is that, so they had to sign for all of these letters?
Yes, yes. So the his was delivered and received.
And there was a couple that did not.
Right, so Mr. Kraswinski did not receive his yet, but he is here through council. Mr. Happ and Mr. Dorada, those had not been delivered yet.
I received mine this morning, Mr. Happ.
You did? Okay, the post office hasn't updated that, but I
No, was
appreciate
last
that.
year.
But why were they so? Was it just because of how they were late?
No, the hearing is statutorily required to be 3 to 5 business days after the board sets the date. Right, so, and you were appointed, so. It takes, it's not uncommon because it takes a couple days for the certified mail to get delivered. We don't have a choice for how long we set the meeting because the statute says we have to do it within 3 to 5 business days. So it is not uncommon at all for notice not to be formally received prior to the hearing, which is why I checked all of them. And we did also try to provide email notice last week to people.
Okay, so some just,
Correct. But it's not unusual because of the statute requiring this hearing to be held within 5 business days of you receiving the objection.
What date did Suzanne receive appointment or notice that she was?
I understand she received notice on Friday and was formally appointed on Monday.
Friday. I was appointed Friday.
The judge didn't enter the order until Monday. I don't believe. He might have told you he was appointing you, but the actual signed order was not entered until Monday, according to the records.
Do you have a copy of this?
Hmm?
Do you have a copy of this?
I do not have a copy of that. That'll be in the Will County Circuit Court files.
Who's the judge?
The Chief Judge, Daniel Kennedy. Okay, so Mr. Morton, it is your objection. Can you explain to the board what the basis of the objection is?
Certainly, the objection is against the full slate of candidates who had been nominated at the caucus, although the objection is individually against each member. It's not, each one should be taken separately. I point this out because there are 3 candidates who are not present despite receiving notice. So at the appropriate time, I would also be moving to just, I'm sorry, I'm blanking right now. Default them, thank you, for not appearing at the hearing. But the objection itself is, I don't want to inaccurately state what you have in front of you. I believe you each have the objections as well, right?
In an email, but I never did receive like hard copy, certified copy or anything.
You should receive that.
I should receive it?
Yeah, that was sent to you by the sheriff on
No,
Monday.
I have not received it.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Okay, we'll get you a copy.
I don't have it. I have
You don't
not
have
received
copies?
anything,
We
not
cannot-
physical copies.
Yeah, we should have received it. That's what
We
that
can,
was my
Right,
understanding,
we
that I
can-
should have
you
received
should
it.
have received it by the sheriff, yes.
Nothing.
And he has
Hmm?
nothing, they have nothing on docket for. Do you have receipt that you had sent?
Did you get a copy by the sheriff?
They don't get your receipts. They were shared, Bill took
The
them to the
sheriff
sheriff.
does not give receipts for that. So we will give you hard copies.
And I'm going to ask that this be continued until you can provide hard copies of the receipts.
Oh.
The fact that they did receive them.
Right, well, can we print out 3 copies of the objection and
No,
provide
we
them to
don't.
the board?
This is. No, it was my understanding. When looking at the rules and everything, and I told you I was going to do this, that I would get a certified. And I did not. And Kelly, did you say you did not?
I did not. And I've been home, not out of town.
So the sheriff should have delivered them to you. If they did not, we'll provide you a copy by
Well,
hand
that's
and
part
you
of,
can waive.
Because right
Service.
now, this whole hearing is about us following rules
Absolutely.
and protocol. And if I don't have the certified, or you showing, I mean, and I'm not saying that at all, that I'm discussing, but I mean, I think that is kind of ironic that we both did not receive the certified map, which I also thought I was to receive it, and I know that it was the 27th, but I thought I would get that within 2 days. I thought that was the whole, that is what my understanding and what I read. That the chair of the electoral board would have received that. Remember, that's when I was asking you like, oh, shoot, I thought I was supposed to send it out to the subpoenas or to the candidates. That's why I was asking. Because I thoroughly read this, and that's why I wanted to kind of see this as, is there the hot of your jump? No. So that's it. I was just curious on what that whole protocol is. When receiving, as myself as chair of electoral board, when I was supposed to receive it, and I thought that was within 2 days of the objection. But then I thought, okay, I didn't get on there till the 27th, so I thought there would be a couple days reprieve, but I still haven't received it.
We will print out a copy. We will provide that to you by hand. And
So did I interpret it incorrectly? Did I read it wrong?
no, you received a copy of the objection by email.
Right, but it didn't say email.
Right. But you accepted the copy.
Accepted the copy.
If I
You
may,
you can waive, sorry.
may I interject? Just, council had suggested a continuance. For the record, I have no objection to a continuance either, and in fact was also going to request that for as necessary to present our case. So I think it might be possible to avoid the problems that are being discussed, because there will be ample time to receive the paper copies that you're talking about before an actual determination is made, presuming you agree with both of us on a continuance.
Well, I guess the issue is whether there's any jurisdiction there, right? If they haven't received. If they haven't received the certified mailing. Then how do we have this meeting?
I have also not received a certified letter either.
Which
Brian Evans.
you refused it,
That means I didn't receive it.
right? But you can't refuse it.
If I'm not home, I don't have a choice.
Then you
to
gotta,
receive
if you're not home, you get a notice.
Correct.
It's not
But
refusing it.
If it's not myself and it's somebody at my residence that says, no, he's not here, we're not taking it. That's not
Okay.
refusing.
But
But that's fine, whatever.
Right, but you can't refuse service of a legal document and
Sure.
and then not participate in the hearing because
If
you didn't.
I myself did not refuse it, then I didn't refuse it.
Right.
Correct.
So
But nevertheless, okay, so
is it your intention to file a preliminary motion?
My intention would be to file, my intention is to request a continuance. Because the primary person involved in all of this is down in Florida. And that's where down in Michigan. We was gonna ask for 5 days, 7 days, no, not a specific date, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, who's in Florida?
Raquel Mitchell,
Who is? I mean,
the
that's,
person who filled out form incorrectly.
okay, I'm, so you're saying witness, I thought you were talking about a party to this.
No.
Is not present,
Right.
so,
Yeah,
okay.
I know
that's-
she's not a part.
Okay, that's why I was clarifying, thank you. If I may respond to some things that have been said about jurisdiction, first of all, Mr. Evans is here. He has submitted himself to this jurisdiction of this board by simply appearing at today's hearing, so that's a
I just want
non-issue.
to clear the fact that I didn't receive a certified document.
Sure,
That's it. Obviously, I'm here.
As is the board is obviously here, present, ready to serve as members of the board, whether they have paper copies of these documents might be a procedural snafu, but it has no bearing on whether the board has proper jurisdiction of the objection.
You would like-
We're present for a procedural snafu.
Let me, would you like a continuance to file a preliminary motion?
I would,
Okay, and when would you like to file your preliminary motion?
within the next 3 days. But Miss Raquel Mitchell will not be in town until 12th, I think, 13th of January.
Today is Friday. You mean 3 business days?
Let me look at my calendar. So that's more.
I will not be in town. I will not be in town from the 9th to like the same way early on the 13th.
I was gonna suggest the 17th
For a hearing?
for a hearing, yeah.
Can we do the 15th?
I don't think she's gonna be, yeah, no, 15th would be okay.
Does that work for you, Mr. Evans?
As of now, yes.
Does that work for you, Mr. Morton?
Yes.
That work for you?
Yes,
Sorry, no,
No, not at all on the 15th.
I'm out of town.
When do you get back?
I'm just gone for the day.
Is there another day that work?
13th?
14th?
14th is good for me.
Anyone not able to be here on the 14th?
Can I ask a question, just because we're here for procedure, right? There's that we have to follow. Did I read that incorrectly about me receiving? Did I read that
You
incorrectly?
did not. And,
Okay.
and I.
And I meant in a time frame.
I'm not ignoring, what I would like
Right.
to do is find out what schedule people would like, and then we'll do a motion to recess to that date. And we'll set the briefing schedule, and then we'll resolve all
Okay.
those issues
That'd be
before the
wonderful.
next meeting,
Okay,
okay?
thank you.
I wasn't trying to ignore you.
And, let me understand from you're stating that you did not receive something.
Right, as I read, I just thought I would hear, and matter of fact, I even kind of stayed home to make sure that I'd receive it. I thought I would get it within 48.
Okay.
That's what it says within.
And we'll
I
resolve.
mean, I'm reading from Ansel Glink. When an objection is filed by noon, the second business day after receipt of the objection, the LEO must transmit by registered mail or receipted personal delivery the nomination papers and original objector's petition to the chair of the electoral board. So maybe I wasn't supposed to get one, but you sure were.
Right. And
I mean,
again,
and to
we'll,
the gentleman's point, if it's, what did you say? I mean, we're here about procedural snafus. So we can't dismiss some procedural snafus and allow others. I don't know, just my thoughts.
and
Like spelling the
we
name right.
will resolve this before the next meeting, okay? What time on the 14th is 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock?
11 is fine.
What day of the week is the 14th?
It is a Tuesday.
I'm open.
I can do anything.
Anytime on 14th is fine. Earlier
Okay, so,
would be better.
Later would be better. If we could do 1 or 2 o'clock, that would be great.
I'm open.
That's fine.
That's good,
It's fine with me.
but
One,
One, yeah. once again, I'd like to talk to you, Suzanne, after this is over.
Someone answered
I'm
that.
trying to understand.
I don't know how you would talk to a member independent.
That would be an
then-
ex
then-
parte
Yeah,
communication.
okay, you're right.
So if you have something now.
Can one of the attorneys in the room here just answer that, what you had just read, because that is what, I didn't read it from Ansel Link, I think I took it right off of the state.
Yeah, what you're stating from the statute is not incorrect.
Oh, okay,
The issue is, what is the effect of that? And what he's alleging is the effect is that there's no jurisdiction and you can't
Right.
consider the objection, which I think is ridiculous. The fact that a procedural issue might not have been followed completely as required, I don't know of any case that says that means the electoral board can't hear the objection and now the objector doesn't have a chance to prove their case.
okay.
Otherwise, every electoral board that's unfavorable to the objector could just sit on it, never follow the procedures, and the objection would go away. That would lead to an absurd result.
So working back from the 14th, when did you want to file your motion?
I'll file a motion, but what's today? Today is the 7th, I'll file it by the 10th.
And how much time would you need for a response, Mr. Morton?
2 days, please.
The business days.
No,
It's 2 days.
2 days.
Well, that,
You said the 10th,
Yeah,
so that's 7 days from now?
that's,
You need 7 days for the
Yeah.
initial motion?
Today's the 3rd.
working back from the 14th, that's not gonna give us enough time, so how about the 8th?
the 8th is fine.
And then we'll do by the 10th.
10th? And a reply, Monday, the 13th?
Can that be by 1 PM on the 13th, so that it's 24 hours before the hearing?
Does that work for you? 1 PM on the 13th?
Whatever it is works for me. I'm gonna wait until you say what they all are and I'll just write them down.
For consistency, is 1 PM across the board? Makes sense?
It's up to you guys.
That's fine.
Fine with me.
Works for me.
Are you also going to be filing motion?
I'm just giving that time. I think it's nonsense to begin with, so.
Okay, so would someone make a motion to adopt a briefing schedule of any preliminary motions due by January 8th at 1 PM? Any responses to preliminary motions be due at 1 PM, January 10th? Any reply in support of the preliminary motion be due at 1 PM on Monday, the 13th? And we recess for hearing at 1 PM on January 14th in this room with no further notice.
I'm sorry, before you make that motion, can I just ask about the plans after that, though? Because we also want the opportunity to have a memo in support of our objection, which would need to have some production of documents, information before then. So is the intention on the 14th for that to be a hearing on the preliminary motion, and then there would be a subsequent hearing date for the actual objection?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I make a motion based on the verbiage you just repeated. You
Second.
laid out.
Second. So move. Agree.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. We are in recess until January 14th at 1 PM.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were recessing.
Oh, that was the last part of the motion.
I thought that was just for a hearing schedule. Because I do have a request to make before you recess. If we can not recess yet. I thought that was just about submitting the briefing schedule.
The last part of the motion was that we are in recess until 1 PM on January 14th.
I would ask that you unrecess.
And I
If
would
you
ask
can
for
come back.
public comment, because I mean, you didn't even follow the agenda. If you're gonna recess, we haven't even had public comment. I didn't
Oh,
even see you guys adopt agenda rules or anything. that were
You
supposed
are
to
correct.
adopt.
That's,
So I'm so confused.
you are correct. My apologies. So we can't recess without public comment, so we'll pass that motion without the recess. What did you?
Thank you. I appreciate
So
that.
his thing is gonna be in public comment, not as an attorney? I mean, I guess he's always an attorney. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
We're not
if we didn't recess,
He
he-
didn't recess because,
Yeah.
got it.
Thank you for missing the last part of your motion there. In the expedience of time, rather than waiting until after the 14th, we would also like leave pursuant to your board rules to submit written subpoena requests to acquire documents that would be necessary for this case, as well as discovery requests to the parties to provide documents. So if I'm asking for leave to do so, by whatever date you think is appropriate. I would suggest by the 10th, when our response to the preliminary motions are due.
by the rules, you're allowed to do that. I don't think they need to give you leave to do that.
Well, the rules talk about subpoena and submitting written responses, but without a deadline. So I wanted to make sure that we have time to submit those written requests for subpoenas. The rules don't discuss discovery requests, which frankly, our goal is things that should be in the possession of the parties anyway. So we can avoid subpoenas if we are just allowed to submit discovery requests and the parties are required to respond to them.
Okay, so the preliminary motion that's going to be filed by the candidates will either resolve the case entirely because you believe there's not a legal basis for the objection, or we're going to move on to issues about discovery and documents and evidence and an evidentiary hearing. So he has the right to ask for subpoenas, and there is no deadline for subpoenas in the rules, but he would have to do it in time before an evidentiary hearing in order to get the information back. So it's in his interest to do those as quickly as possible, and for him to do that before we vote, before we recess until the 14th. But there is no deadline for you to do that. So you file them, and I would suggest you file them prior to the next hearing,
So
and
that they can be
with his
discussed.
opportunity to respond so that they can vote on anything they need to vote on at the next hearing.
Of course.
And we'll leave that to you to decide the timing.
And discovery requests then, request to produce basically.
You would have to file a request for that.
And we can do so as well with our subpoenas. Okay. And the board is, I don't want to make sure, I don't mean to just discuss direct it to Mr. Mullen, but the board is okay with that. Okay, thank you.
One PM on the eighth, 1 PM on the 10th, 1 PM on the 13th. Hearing on the 14th at 1 PM.
Public comment?
And for public comment.
Mr. Mullen,
Could you state your name, please?
Randy Happ, spelled HAAP. Just thought I'd let the Democrat know. The question I have, can you give us some idea what the drop dead date would be for an election for April 1st on the ballots?
No, because there's a lot of flexibility. Normally we don't answer questions during public comment, but I think that's an appropriate question. The certification date is January 30th. So our goal is to finish this case by January 30th so that the clerk can timely certify the candidates on the ballot.
Okay.
But there is flexibility with that.
So the ability to appeal the results.
Yes. So in other words, if the clerk is aware that this objection is going on, the clerk can prepare ballots for all of the other townships and hold this one until a decision is made. So the goal of this board is obviously to do it before the certification date, but that, you know, you're on the ballot until you're off the ballot, right? So if this board is late, they would print the ballot with your name on it.
So have you ever seen in the past how close you could get?
I'm sorry.
Have you ever seen in the past how close you could get to an actual printing of when you need to do it 2 weeks ahead of time, 3 weeks ahead of time?
It's different with every clerk, but they have a very quick turnaround time these days with printing the ballots because of the electronic way that they do it.
Okay, public comment, please. Brendan Morse, MORSE. I forgot I had this on my phone, the agenda, so I'm looking at it right now. And again, I haven't been to one of these in a long time, and I don't claim to understand all these rules around election code and everything else. However, I do believe that these steps, even for this meeting, weren't followed, which would invalidate this meeting. It says the call to order the roll call, that was fine, we did that. The introductory remarks by the chair, I don't remember that. The consideration and adoption of board rules of procedure, I don't remember anybody doing what even the rules were for the procedure of this meeting. And then it says the case, which I assume is this case here, and then now public comment. So I'm just confused, as I thought I would come here and understand at least one, what the rules were for this particular board, what they were going to do today and what was being presented. And at least hear exactly what the case was, not from this gentleman here, I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. But I mean, it seems like this particular meeting was controlled and ruled by you two gentlemen, not the elected electoral board. That's my comment. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, Julie Berkowitz. I just want to make a comment that the rules were amended and voted on, and the public was not given a copy of that. So there are hard copies available here. I don't know that it's posted online. I'm not aware of any postage of this item that you voted on. So I'm a little curious as to why we weren't provided that information.
Anyone else?
Other comment?
I have one. Brian Evans. Aside from the Democrat Party wasting all of our township resources on this nonsense, am I to understand clearly that what you're saying is by January 31st, if this hasn't come to some resolution, all of the names would still be printed on the ballots that everybody would be voting on?
They will be printed on the ballot. That doesn't mean the votes will be counted. So if this process takes longer than the clerk needs to print the ballots, then what would happen is your name will be printed on the ballot, and then if there's a decision by this board or by the court or by the appellate court that your name should not have been on the ballot, then they won't count the votes.
Cool.
Thank you. Just had a question for you. Did you receive the hard copies of all these since
You're
the
asking
two,
me?
yeah, the 2 of your partners next to you?
I did not, but
Yeah.
I saw them all via electronically.
So you didn't get a hard.
I didn't get a certified mail.
Thank you.
Just to clarify, but I saw it all. And to be honest, I didn't realize I was supposed to get a certified, so I don't even know that I am.
Thank you.
Any more public comment?
Well, this is like an objection against perfection. Out of 8 people, they misspelled my name, so. That should be.
Oh, sorry.
This is public comment,
You know what
not
I'm saying?
the argument on the case, and you have counsel, so. You can make that argument through counsel in the preliminary motions.
Just making a public statement. This is all about perfection. It ain't perfect. The objection.
Any more public comment? Okay,
Make a motion.
a motion to recess to 1 PM on January 14th.
I make a motion to recess until January 14th at 1 PM.
So moved. Roll call.
I vote yes.
Let's see, I guess Chair Spinmar and Clerk with the yes.
I make a motion to adjourn. Yes, I vote. I
Yes,
support it, yeah.
you're adjourned at, I can't see the time,
11:37.
11:47.